My family charged me $500 per month at 15 while my sister got everything. So I disappeared at 17, became a self-made millionaire, and they just found out I bought their house. If you're here with me right now, subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. It helps me feel like we're all in this together. I was 15 when Mama slid the invoice across the kitchen table. Not a chore chart. Not a conversation. An actual printed invoice with my name at the top. Harley Williams, monthly living expenses. $500, she said, not looking up from her phone. Due by the 1st of every month. My sister Brittany waltzed in wearing the new Jordans Mama bought her that morning. $300. I'd been wearing the same worn-out sneakers for 8 months, the soles flapping when I walked. Wait, what? I stared at the paper. Rent, $300. Food, $150. Utilities, $50. You're charging me to live here? You're grown enough to have opinions, you're grown enough to contribute. Mama's voice was ice. Brittany doesn't have to because she's still in school. I'm in school. I'm 15. And you got that little job at Mickey D's, don't you? She finally looked at me and I saw something that made my stomach drop. Resentment. Like I'd done something to her just by existing. Brittany smirked, biting into an apple. Sucks to be you. That's when Daddy walked in, saw the paper and nodded. Your mama's right. Time you learned responsibility. But Brittany's different. He cut me off. She's going places. You need to learn the value of hard work. I looked at that invoice, at my parents' cold faces, at my sister's satisfied smile. Something inside me cracked that day. I didn't know it yet, but that crack would become the foundation of everything I built. I paid the first month. And the second. And I started planning. Brittany had always been their precious jewel. But after the invoice, the difference became suffocating. I'd come home from my 6-hour shift at McDonald's, grease in my hair, feet aching, to find her getting a new MacBook for school. Harley, you tracking mud. Mama snapped from the couch. Clean that up. And your rent's due in 3 days. I was making $8.50 an hour. After taxes, I brought home maybe $850 a month working every day after school and weekends. Half of that went to them. One night, I overheard them in the living room. I'd just gotten home at 11 p.m. exhausted. We should have stopped at Brittany, Mama said. One child's expensive enough. Daddy grunted in agreement. At least she's paying her way now. Making her useful. My hand froze on my bedroom doorknob. Useful. Like I was a tenant, not their daughter. The next day, I opened a secret bank account at a branch across town. Started depositing $20 here, $50 there. Anything I could hide. I told them I got my hours cut. I wore the same 3 outfits on rotation. I stopped eating lunch. Meanwhile, Brittany got a car for her 16th birthday. A whole car. A used Honda Civic, but still. I got a card that said, Happy 16th. Remember rent's due, with a smiley face. My guidance counselor, Mrs. Patterson, noticed I'd lost weight. Harley, honey, you okay? I'm fine, I lied, perfecting the smile I'd wear for the next 2 years. But I wasn't fine. I was hungry, exhausted, and plotting my escape with every dollar I hid away. 17. That's when everything shattered completely. I'd been accepted to 3 colleges with partial scholarships. Not full rides but significant help. I worked 2 jobs by then, McDonald's and weekend shifts at a warehouse. I'd saved $4,000 in my secret account. I told them at dinner, hands shaking with hope. I got into state. With a scholarship. Mama didn't even look up. That's nice. How you planning to pay the rest? I thought, maybe you could help? Like you're helping Brittany with her applications and... Daddy laughed. Actually laughed. Baby girl, we ain't made of money. You got 2 working legs. Figure it out. But you bought Brittany a car. You paid for her SAT prep her. Brittany's got potential, Mama interrupted, her voice sharp. She's going somewhere. She waved her hand dismissively. You're surviving just fine on your own. That word. Surviving. Not thriving. Not succeeding. Surviving. Brittany didn't even try to hide her smile. Some people are just born lucky, I guess. Something snapped. The crack that formed 2 years ago split wide open. You know what? I stood up, my chair scraping loud against the floor. You're right. I am surviving. And I'm damn good at it. I walked to my room, pulled out my duffel bag and started packing. Mama appeared in my doorway. Where you think you're going? Somewhere I don't have to pay to be tolerated. You walk out that door, you don't come back, Daddy called from the hallway. I looked at them both. Perfect. I left that night with $4,000, 3 garbage bags of clothes, and absolutely no intention of ever seeing them again. Mrs. Patterson found me sleeping in my car in the school parking lot 3 days later. I'd been showering at the gym, eating dollar menu items and lying to everyone. Harley Williams, get in my office. Now. I thought I was in trouble. Instead, she handed me a phone. This is my sister, Angela. She runs a boarding house for young women. You're staying there until you figure this out. I broke down crying for the first time since I left. Angela's house was in a rough neighborhood, but it was clean, safe, and only $200 a month including utilities. 6 girls lived there, all with stories like mine. We became sisters in ways my blood family never understood. My roommate Tasha worked at a tech startup downtown. Girl, you're smart. Why you flipping burgers? Because that's what I know. She rolled her eyes. You know computers? I mean basics. That's enough. My company needs customer service reps. $15 an hour and they train you. You work hard, they move you up fast. 2 weeks later, I was wearing a headset answering tech support calls and learning everything I could about the business. I watched how they operated, how they made money, how they treated entry-level employees like disposable parts. I absorbed everything. The coding bootcamp resources they mentioned. The sales tactics. The customer psychology. At night, I took free online courses. HTML, CSS, basic programming. My fingers flew across the keyboard of my ancient laptop until 2 a.m. most nights. You never sleep, Tasha observed. Sleep is for people who have safety nets, I replied. I don't. 6 months at the tech company taught me something crucial. I was smarter than most people there, I just lacked the confidence they'd been handed at birth. My supervisor, James Stevens, noticed. Harley, you solved that customer's problem in 5 minutes. The ticket was escalated 3 times before it reached you. It wasn't complicated. Just needed someone to actually listen. He studied me for a moment. How old are you? 18 next month. No college. I tensed. Not yet. Good. Half these college grads can't problem solve their way out of a paper bag. You're wasted in customer service. I'm moving you to solutions architecture. It's a $10 raise. $25 an hour. I nearly cried in his office. But the real opportunity came from watching, from networking, from understanding something the company missed. Small businesses were desperate for affordable tech solutions, but enterprise software companies ignored them. At Angela's house that night, I pitched my idea to the girls. What if we built simple software for small businesses? Appointment booking, inventory tracking, basic stuff they're doing on paper or overcomplicated systems. My roommate Destiny, who worked at a salon, lit up. Girl, my boss would pay good money for that. She's using a literal notebook. How much would she pay? Maybe $100 a month? I did the math. 100 businesses at $100 a month. That's $10,000 monthly. My entire worldview shifted. I need to learn to code. Really code. Tasha grinned. Now you're talking. Learning to code while working 50-hour weeks nearly killed me, but I was running from something bigger than exhaustion. I was running from becoming my parents. From accepting that some people just don't make it. I found a mentor through an online forum. Leo Davis, a Black software engineer who'd built and sold 2 companies. He saw something in my desperate 2 a.m. questions. Why do you code like you're running from a fire? He asked during our first video call. Because I am. He didn't ask more. Just said, good. Fear's a better motivator than passion. Let's build something. For 8 months we worked on my first product. Simple book, an appointment scheduling system so easy your grandmother could use it. I tested it on Destiny's salon, then her boss's friends, then anyone who'd listen. My first paying customer was Mrs. Henderson's bakery. $50 a month. Baby, this is wonderful, she gushed. You're going places. That phrase again. But this time it felt true. By 19, I had 47 customers and was making $3,800 a month on top of my job. I quit the tech company, terrifying everyone who knew me. Harley, that's steady money. Angela protested. Steady is how you stay stuck, I replied. I didn't claw out of my parents' house to play it safe. Leo called me that night. You're ready for investors. Let me introduce you to some people. I'm 19 with no degree. Who's investing in me? He laughed. People who recognize hunger when they see it. Get your pitch ready. The investor meeting was in a downtown high-rise. I wore my only professional outfit, a thrift store blazer and pants that didn't quite match. Everyone else wore suits that cost more than my car. I was terrified. Then I remembered sleeping in that car and the fear transformed into fuel. Tell us about Simple Book, the lead investor, Catherine Rhodes, said. She was a Black woman in her 50s who'd built her own empire. I learned later she took the meeting specifically because Leo told her my story. I didn't sugarcoat it. I told them about small business owners drowning in inefficiency, about software companies that ignored anyone making less than 7 figures, about the gap in the market nobody was filling. You have 47 customers, one investor interrupted. That's adorable. Why should we fund you instead of a Stanford grad with the same idea? Before I could answer, Catherine cut in. Because Stanford grads don't understand desperation. They don't know what it's like to build something because failure means homelessness. She looked at me. Do they, Harley? No, ma'am. They don't. How much are you asking for? $250,000 for 15% equity. The room went silent. Then Catherine smiled. You undervalue yourself. I'll give you $400,000 for 12%. But you're hiring a team, getting an office, and scaling fast. Deal. My hands were shaking. Deal. We shook hands and my life split into before and after that moment. Within 6 months, Simple Book had 800 customers and 3 employees working from a small office. Within a year, we hit 3,000 customers and $250,000 in monthly revenue. I was 20 years old and I'd built something real. 2 years of 16-hour days transformed Simple Book into a company valued at $12 million. We had 42 employees, 15,000 customers, and interest from major acquisition targets. I still lived modestly. Still remembered the feeling of counting change for dollar menu items. Still woke up sometimes panicking about rent, before remembering I owned my apartment building. But I wasn't the same scared girl anymore. I was Harley Williams, CEO. My team threw me a 22nd birthday party in the office. Speech, they chanted. I thought about everything. About Mama's invoice. About sleeping in my car. About the family that told me I was just surviving. Some people are born with safety nets, I said, my voice steady. The rest of us learn to fly because falling isn't an option. Thank you for taking this flight with me. The applause felt surreal. That night Catherine called. Tech giant wants to buy you out. 28 million. My brain short-circuited. What? You'd walk away with about 18 million after taxes and splits. You're 22, Harley. You could retire. I thought for exactly 5 seconds. What if I don't want to stop? She laughed, the sound warm and proud. Then we negotiate better terms and you keep building. That's my girl. We took the deal but structured it so I stayed on as an advisor with equity in their company. My payout, $15.3 million immediately, plus stock options worth potentially millions more. I sat in my apartment that night staring at my bank account and thought about 3 people who'd never get a single dollar of it. I didn't plan to go back. I'd successfully erased them from my life. Blocked numbers, no social media presence they could find, a new city, a new world. But then Mrs. Patterson called. Harley, honey, your parents are losing their house. Thought you should know. Why would I care? Because despite everything I know it matters to you. The foreclosure auction is next month. I hung up and stared at the wall for an hour. Then I called my lawyer. I need information on a property. I gave him the address. The house I grew up in. The place where they charged me to exist. 3 days later he called back. They're $87,000 behind on payments. Bank's auctioning it. Starting bid will be around $210,000. It's worth maybe $280,000 in today's market. Buy it. Excuse me. Whatever it takes. Buy that house. But keep my name completely out of it. Use an LLC, shell company, whatever. Nobody can know it's me. He paused. Harley, what are you doing? Something I probably shouldn't. Can you do it? Consider it done. The auction happened on a Wednesday. I wasn't there, but my lawyer was. 3 bidders. The bank really wanted to recoup their losses. Final price. $245,000, purchased by Metropolitan Property Holdings, LLC. My lawyer called with the news. It's yours. What now? Now. We wait. Let them find out on their own. I spent the next month preparing. This wasn't about revenge. This was about closure. About showing up as the person they said I'd never become. About making them see what they threw away. I hired a property management company to deliver the notice. Professional, legal, cold. They had 60 days to vacate the premises. New ownership had plans for the property. Mrs. Patterson called me immediately. Harley, they're panicking. They don't know where they'll go. They have 60 days. That's more notice than I got when they told me to leave. Your sister's been calling everyone trying to find out who bought it. Brittany. I hadn't let myself think about her in years. Last I heard through the grapevine, she dropped out of the state school they'd somehow scraped together money for. Came back home, no job, no plans. The golden child had tarnished. She won't find anything, I said. The LLC is buried under 3 layers. When are you going to tell them it's you? I haven't decided if I am. But I knew I would. This only worked if they knew. If they understood exactly who had the power now. I gave them 55 days. Let them scramble, stress, pack, plan. Let them feel the helplessness of having no control over their lives. Then I drove to my old neighborhood in my Tesla. The area looked worse than I remembered. The house needed work. Paint peeling, yard overgrown. They'd let it deteriorate just like they'd let me deteriorate. I parked across the street and watched them loading boxes into Daddy's old truck. He looked older, grayer. Mama's hair was thinner. And Brittany, she looked exactly like I remembered. Exhausted by inconvenience. I sat there for 10 minutes, gathering courage. Then I stepped out of my car. Mama saw me first. She froze mid-step, a box in her hands, her face cycling through confusion, recognition, then shock. Harley. Daddy turned, his eyes widening. Brittany dropped the bag she was carrying. I walked up the driveway slowly, hands in my pockets, my heart pounding so hard I thought they could hear it. Hey Mama. Daddy. Brittany. What are you doing here? Daddy's voice was defensive. Come to see us at our lowest? Actually, I came to discuss the property. Mama's face crumpled. If you know someone who can help, we'll take anything. We've been calling everyone, but this company that bought it won't even negotiate. Metropolitan Property Holdings, I interrupted. That's the company, right? Yes. Do you know them? Can you talk to them? I pulled out my phone, opened my email, and showed them the purchase agreement. My name at the bottom as primary shareholder of the LLC. The silence was deafening. I don't understand, Brittany whispered. I bought your house, I said, my voice steady. I own it. Have for almost 2 months now. Mama's box crashed to the ground. You bought? How? Daddy demanded. Where did you get that kind of money? I built a company. Sold it. Made more money than you'll see in 10 lifetimes. I watched their faces, feeling nothing and everything. Turns out I wasn't just surviving. I was thriving. Without you. Baby, please. Mama reached for me. I stepped back. Don't. You don't get to baby me now. You charged me, your 15-year-old daughter, $500 a month to live in your house. You told me I had no potential. You chose her over me every single day. Brittany's face flushed. That's not fair. Fair. I laughed, bitter and sharp. You want to talk about fair? You got a car for your birthday, I continued, my voice rising. I got a reminder that rent was due. You got college prep and spending money. I got told to figure it out. You got love, support, encouragement. I got an invoice. Tears were streaming down Mama's face. We were trying to teach you responsibility. Bullshit. The word exploded out of me. You were punishing me for existing. For not being her. For being the child you didn't want. That's not true, Daddy said, but his voice lacked conviction. I heard you. That night when I was 16. We should have stopped at Brittany. You said that. Both of you agreed. Mama's face went white. She remembered. You know what's funny? I said. That invoice, that rejection, that cruelty, it saved me. It taught me I could only rely on myself. It made me hungry in a way privileged people never are. So in a twisted way, I should thank you. Brittany found her voice. So what, you're just going to kick us out? Make us homeless? I'm giving you the same chance you gave me. Figure it out. You've got working legs, right, Daddy? That's what you told me. Harley, please. Mama was sobbing now. We're sorry. We made mistakes. But we're still your family. No, I said firmly. Family doesn't charge rent to children. Family doesn't play favorites. Family doesn't tell you you're worthless and disposable. You're not my family. You're just people I used to know. I turned to leave, then stopped. You have 5 more days. After that, the locks change. Where you go isn't my problem. Wait. Daddy called out. At least tell us where you've been. What you've done. Let us be proud of you. I looked back at 3 desperate faces. You had 17 years to be proud of me. You chose not to. That's not my problem to fix. I drove away and didn't look back. 3 months later, I stood in the gutted house with my contractor. We were turning it into a community center. A place where kids like me could learn coding, get mentorship, find resources. The transformation's incredible, Leo said beside me. He'd flown in for the opening. From the house that rejected you to a place that accepts everyone. Poetic, right? Mrs. Patterson arrived with the first group of students, 15 teenagers from rough backgrounds, all hungry for a chance. Everyone, she announced, meet Harley Williams, founder of the Resilience Community Center. She's living proof that your starting point doesn't determine your ending. They looked at me with hope and skepticism, the same mix I'd felt at their age. I used to live here, I told them. In this house that told me I wasn't enough. I paid rent at 15. Left at 17 with $4,000 in a car. Today, I'm worth over $20 million. Their eyes widened. Not because I'm special. Because I was desperate and refused to stay desperate. Because when people counted me out, I counted myself in. That's what we do here. We count you in. The applause was thunderous. Later, as I watched them explore their new space, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. We saw the news about the center. We're proud of you, Mom. I deleted it without responding. Catherine called minutes later. Saw the coverage. Beautiful work. How do you feel? I looked around at the space, at the kids finding hope in the place that once housed my pain. Free, I said. I finally feel free. Revenge wasn't making them homeless. Revenge was building something beautiful from their rejection. Revenge was proving that their limitations were never mine. Revenge was succeeding so loudly they couldn't help but hear it, and then choosing not to let them back in. I didn't disappear from my family's life. They disappeared me first. I just made sure that when they finally saw me again, they understood exactly what they'd lost. And I understood exactly what I'd gained. Myself, my worth, and a future they could never take from me. The house wasn't mine anymore. But my life. That belonged to me alone. Finally,